tool that's seriously changing the game for writing production-grade Python. It's all about making our code safer, more reliable, and frankly, a heck of a lot easier to manage. All right, let's start with a problem that I'm pretty sure every single Python developer has felt. You know how we all love Python because it's so flexible, right? Well, that same flexibility can be, let's just say, a total nightmare in production. I mean, come on, who hasn't had an entire API just fall over because of one tiny little typo? It's the worst. So just think about it. You've got data coming in from everywhere. APIs, user inputs, databases, and let's be real, it's never as perfect as you want it to be. You get a number that's actually a string, a field that's totally missing, or, my favorite, a key with a typo you stare at for an hour. And these little things, they're the silent killers. They cause these weird, unpredictable errors that are just a massive headache to hunt down. Okay, so how do you bring some order to all that chaos? Well, let me introduce you to the solution. Pydantic is, and I'm not exaggerating, basically a bodyguard for your data. It uses those Python type hints we already know and love to define exactly what your data should look like. It's like giving your data a strict set of rules to follow, making sure everything you work with is exactly the shape and type you expect. No surprises. And just so you know, this isn't some niche little tool. We're talking about a true production powerhouse. Get this, it's downloaded over 370 million times a month. Yeah, you heard that right. It's absolutely massive, and it's the secret sauce behind so many rock-solid applications out there. You know, probably the best way to think about Pydantic is this. It's basically TypeScript, but for the Python world. It brings that same feeling of safety and predictability you get from a statically typed language, but right into the dynamic, friendly world of Python. It's a real game changer. Okay, theory's great, but let's see how this actually works. Let's dive in and build our first model. So it all starts with this base model. You just make a class, have it inherit from base model, and then you list out your fields using the normal Python type hints you already use. That's it. Seriously, you've just defined a clear, strict schema for your data. Now check this out. This is where the magic really happens. Look at that input data. There's a typo in isActive. Without Pydantic, your code would probably blow up with some confusing error later on. But with Pydantic, nope, it stops it right at the door and gives you this beautiful, clean validation error that tells you exactly what's wrong. Debugging becomes so much easier. And it gets even better. Pydantic is also super smart. It does something called type coercion. So instead of just rejecting data that isn't the right type, it tries to help you out. If you get a string like 123, but you were expecting an integer, Pydantic just converts it for you, automatically. Think about how much boilerplate code that saves you from writing. It's brilliant. Okay, so simple type checking is cool, but that's just scratching the surface. Pydantic has some serious validation superpowers. So for more complex rules, you can pull in this little thing called field. With it, you can add all sorts of constraints directly to your model. Here, we're saying the name has to be between 3 and 50 characters long, and the salary has to be greater than 0. You're literally building your business logic right into your data structure. How cool is that? And what about complex nested data? You know, the kind we actually deal with in the real world. Pydantic handles it like a champ. You can just define one model, like an address, and then use it as a type inside another model, like a user. Pydantic then validates the whole thing, top to bottom. It just works. So this is all great, but where do you actually use it? Now, its real power shines when you hook it up with web frameworks. Check this out. If you're using a framework like FastAPI, this is just incredible. You define your Pydantic model, and then you just type hint your request body with it. That's it. FastAPI then uses that model to automatically validate all incoming data, and it generates your API docs for you, for free. It's an absolute dream for developers. So, why does all this matter? Well, it's pretty simple. You end up with way fewer bugs because you catch errors right at the source. Your code basically documents itself, which is amazing. You spend way less time writing boring validation code. And the result? Your applications are just more robust and reliable. It's a fundamental shift toward writing better, safer Python. Look, at the end of the day, Pydantic just gives you peace of mind. It lets you stop worrying about all the messy data coming in and instead focus on building the cool stuff, the actual logic of your app. It's a tool that lets you work with confidence, knowing your data is solid. So really, the question is, are you ready to write some truly